Well, good afternoon. This is Jay Fidell here on ThinkTech. We're doing a ThinkTech talk with Denyse Ray of Ladyease Limited. And that's DBAE's collection, Ease Collection. So, what's interesting, about Denyse is that she's a manufacturer person. How many people in Hawaii do you know who are manufacturer people? And she has a factory, and this is like China. You can tell her what you want her to manufacture, and she will manufacture it. Think about it. How many people do you know who do that?
Exactly.
It's funny that part of the deal in Kaka'ako is there's a group of people, young kids like Denyse, who call themselves makers, and it reminds me of the old German Yiddish word macher, M-A-C-H-E-R. Macher is somebody who makes things, and it rises on the social scale. If you're a macher, it means you're a big shot because you make things. And that's the common point. That's the point to keep in mind. Okay, today we're going to find out what Denyse makes, why she makes them, and how you make them,
how she got started
and
with
problems
this
in making them.
Exactly.
So, okay, tell us about how you got into the manufacturing business, Denyse.
I am a retired clinical first responder. As a result of being at 9/11, I was there and didn't have adequate protection for my face. I tore the sleeve out of my suit jacket, tied it around my face, but I had a thought. The entrepreneur in me said that there was an untapped market, women. We like pretty and then functional. Oh, pretty and it works. So at any rate, I retired.
What happened to your face?
I tied my sleeve jacket. I tore my sleeve jacket, the sleeve off of my jacket, and tied it around my face.
Because
and 9/11, the particulate matter, was overwhelming. But people are not prepared for disasters and crises, so you're not walking around with things in your pocket to cover yourself. So at any rate, the ingenuity in me tore the sleeve off, but I thought about a product. And I eventually did make a washable, reusable face mask out of bamboo. And
is that a fabric?
It's a fabric, bamboo fabric. And some friends of mine at Johns Hopkins, they would help me come up with a filter. They actually hold a patent on the filter. So let's fast forward to my retirement here on the island, 2008. And my last case was when the young man dropped the kid over the overpass.
Oh, I remember that.
Exactly.
That was your case.
That was my last case.
I
retired. Yes, I was a responder, clinical responder on that.
What is a clinical responder?
A clinical responder, unlike an MD, doesn't have time to take blood work and give you a test 2 weeks later. We have to actually go in and diffuse chaos immediately. And so anytime that there is a natural or man-made disaster, Columbine would be considered a disaster, Oklahoma bombing, these are all the places that I'm dropped into as a result of people being clinically unbalanced.
Have you been to those places?
I've been to all of those places.
Career.
What an interesting career.
What organizations did you work for?
Well, I'm a private practitioner, and so if you're on that list of responders, your number comes up, you got to go in there, whatever the disaster is, and you've got to bring calm out of chaos. That's your job. And so I did that for over 2 decades. Exactly. That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show. But I can promise you that doing that work for over 20 years, I was never as tired as I am right this minute.
It taught you a few things or two about
it taught me
chaos.
Dealing with chaos, dealing with people, taking the emotion out of it, getting your job done. And so I do have a few skills that have translated.
Sounds like it.
I now tell people that I spent 2 decades helping people take off their emotional mask. And now I'm in the process of helping them put on a mask to protect them from poor air quality. So I'm still in the mask business nonetheless.
Can we dwell on that for a while? I mean, it's very interesting that you be a professional in that area. What mindset do you want to achieve? Maybe it's not a question of voluntarily wanting to achieve the mindset, but what mindset do you achieve in dealing with chaos?
Well, I don't particularly achieve a mindset. My responsibility is to help people move through their chaos.
Very simple.
Exactly. It's very simple. It's like for me it's simple. For them it's traumatic. It's painful, and so some of that pain occurred very early in their lives. I got to go in there and gut it out.
So it's a matter of being focused.
Exactly. And so I'm pretty darn focused right now.
I knew that the day I mentioned it.
It's like, oh my goodness! Without that training. I'm not certain that I would have survived 16 months. I'm still a toddler in the manufacturing business, but nonetheless, I am prevailing over there in Kaka'ako, which is a fascinating fast forward for us.
Yeah.
So I've donated thousands of these masks around the nation and around the world, actually. And I'm at the Children and Youth Festival 2011. I'm donating the mask there, and I'm in the sustainable booth. Dixon Golf asked me if I can make a golf shirt out of the same bamboo fabric that I'm making the mask out of. I don't know too much about that. I mean, remember, I got a lot of years as a clinician, so I don't have a lot of years as a manufacturer. At any rate, here's what got me to decide that this was the right thing to do. I'm also volunteering at APEC that same November. And every person, I was at the CEO summit there, every person that picked up one of those gift bags threw it in the trash. You know why? They said that they had not traveled this far to come to Hawaii to have items that didn't have made in Hawaii in the label. I thought, what a concept. They were throwing the shirts away. They were throwing the bags away. They were just angry that they had come this far. And some people were from areas that had produced some of the items, and still they were throwing them away, saying that they would not.
They had no value.
They had no value to them. They wanted something made in Hawaii. So here I am working out of my in-law suite at my house, making the mask only. And I go home and have a few cocktails. Every day, the stress that I'm under, it is attributed to those cocktails that I had.
That's healthy.
I had
The
those
doctor
few
will tell you that's
cocktails,
healthy.
and I say to myself, what are we doing? Are we going down there and fight traffic and start a project that we absolutely have nothing to go on? We have no experience here. And the answer was, after a few cocktails, yes. We're going down there and we're going to launch a manufacturing. I heard the call. People, I need to tell you, I heard the call. It said, bring manufacturing back to the borders of the United States.
Oh, what a call.
What a call, and what a response.
What response from whom?
From me.
Okay.
What a response from me. So I opened 3,500 square feet last April of 2012.
This is on Cook Street.
On Pu'ukaina.
Okay.
Opened 3,500 square feet.
That's pretty big.
Well, by the time I got to December of 12, I was already at 7,500 square
Whoa.
feet. I had expanded
More than
into
doubled,
another bay. And so it was because the community had a need that I was filling. I didn't know that. Remember, I'm just going to make my mask and my shirts, my active wear. I only have 8 sewing machines at the time.
You did make the shirts.
I made the shirts. I filled that 5,000 piece order by May of 2012 by myself. I made those shirts. And so again, I began to hire people, and it's resonating through the community. I'm in the newspaper almost monthly. There's a manufacturer who will manufacture something other than their own product. Also, she will also give the community a 12-piece minimum, unheard of. I'm a little bit
12
smarter.
pieces, machine.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm a little smarter this year. That was last year's
You lose
deal.
money on that.
Well, that was last year's deal, but you gotta get in there.
what's
You
your
gotta
minimum this year,
understand.
Denyse?
My minimum this year is 36 pieces for local folks.
Okay.
Exactly.
And these pieces are what kind pieces?
Shirts, dresses, swimwear, pants, aloha
So
wear.
this is really
A manufacturing,
custom manufacturing.
A manufacturer.
Custom.
I cut
Whatever
for
they
Rick
tell
shirts.
you,
Yeah, I
you'll
cut
do
for
it.
Rick shirts now. I've cut for HAWAIIAN. I've cut pieces for Ren Spooner. I've cut pieces for pretty
You
much
do
the big
logo
houses.
shirts and all that?
Yes, I embroider.
wanna
I have
talk
an
to you.
embroidery.
I wanna talk to you.
Hey, work. I'll take the work. I'll take the work. Right now, I'm actually booked into 2014.
Okay, so this is so interesting. You know, you wake up one morning, you have a call, you respond to the call, now you're going to have a factory. The call told you to get a factory, so you get a factory. How do you get a factory? I mean, a lot of people would like to have a factory. I think a lot of people out there would like to have a factory, but it's not that easy. How do you get a factory?
You get a factory, you got to do some research. And you have to talk to somebody like me so that you don't stumble the same way that I stumbled. You have to know what sewing machines you need. They all are not straight single needle. You need sergers, you need 4 needles, they're sergers, you need 5 thread sergers. And so it depends on what you're going to be specializing in, what equipment you will need. And you also need some money.
We're going to get to that.
Okay, so you cannot go there, and that's why people are probably still sewing out of their homes now as contractors. But you cannot launch this without resources, because you need not only equipment, but we are probably calling ourselves the 21st century manufacturer in the state of Hawaii now. We are very technology driven. One of the reasons is that I'm attempting to prepare a legacy. All of the young people who are in textile schools, they are in technology. They're not manually creating patterns anymore. That art is almost dying. And so while I cannot afford the equipment that they're learning on, I can afford something that's comparable so that when they are finished their studies, they don't have to take a flight out of here. They don't have to think in terms of leaving this state in order to get work in this industry. Also, one of my focuses is that everybody is not going to go to college. What about vocation? So I'm looking at myself as being an accelerator now that I've got 16 long months under my belt, and there are plenty of young people who need a vocation as opposed to preparing themselves for secondary education. They cannot afford it. They need a job when they get out of school. So, but how do we train them? Who trains them? So.
Okay, so you wake up one morning,
Yes.
you have the call.
I got the call.
Which things do you do first?
Which things do you do
You
first?
go to the money first, you go to the equipment first, you go to the books first, you try to get some lieutenants and staff to help you, you go to a banker, you go to a landlord, where do you go? Or do you go to them all at the same time?
All the same time, and the same day. Same
Really
time.
a big day.
Exactly. It's a long 24 hours in that day. But first you need to find a location. And you know, people say location.
It really is important.
It really is critical.
Somehow it's more than just a location, it's a symbol that you are serious.
It's a symbol
statement.
that you've signed that lease.
Yeah.
And now you need to move forward with whatever that lease capacity is. If it's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you need to now forecast yourself out for that length of time and not be prayerful that you survive. There's no strategy called hope. You've got to really think this through and determine how you're going to roll this business out and survive in an area that has ceased to exist.
Kaka'ako. Or
Kaka'ako
in manufacturing.
And especially apparel
Do you have a
manufacturing.
best buddy on this?
No,
Just you.
just me.
But you learned, maybe through the, your work in chaos, you learned how to deal with a million things going on and keep cool, keep your focus, never forget to call.
Never forget the call. I've got a knot on my left shoulder. It's called stress. That's where I'm carrying everything. Every now and then I just sort of get it out and then keep moving forward with it.
Okay, well, so then you go out and you say, I will manufacture the 5,000 bamboo shirts. I'm going to do that right now.
I'm doing it right.
But you hadn't done any before.
Yep.
So
I
how
have
do
to hire
you
people.
manufacture a bamboo shirt?
You have to first find people that know how to do several things. One, make a pattern. Critical to a shirt. They don't give you a shirt to go by because you're new. So you get a pattern maker and you advertise for help, and people start to send people who are looking for work. They don't always come through and become the people that you'd like for them to, but that's where you have to start. I actually partnered with the Goodwill program, the Emi Loa program. One of my goals in the midst of the goal setting was to help some new immigrants stand on their own in our country, and so I
So you could connect up with them. They would provide you.
Yes, with sewers. You vet them. So
This is so hard to do. Labor is so hard.
Labor
It's so
is
hard
critical.
just
It's
thinking
brutal.
about it makes me want to take a break. I'm sorry, we're going
Yes.
to take a break while I
Okay.
can think about it.
All right.
Okay, this is Denyse Ray. She's from Ladyease Limited, doing business as Easy Collection.
Ease
Collection, okay?
Collection,
On
yes.
Pohukaina Street, okay? She's a manufacturing lady. That's why we're calling this manufacturing in Hawaii. We'll be right back after this break.
I'm Bill Spencer, president of the Hawaii Venture Capital Association. We do monthly luncheon programs with ThinkTech about things that matter to Hawaii entrepreneurs, investors, and business service providers. So join us on the fourth Thursday of every month at the Plaza Club. For information about upcoming events or to join our mailing list, visit hvca.org. See you there.
We're back, we're live, we're at ThinkTech. We're on a ThinkTech Talk with Denyse Ray of Ladyease Limited, doing business as Ease Collection on Pohukaina Street. The new energy comes to Kaka'ako. Think about that all the
Yes.
time, Kaka'ako. So, a little moment of my own, reverie. Okay, in the 70s,
Yes.
we had lots of manufacturing.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of most of it, or at least the ones that I was familiar with, were on Kamoko Street. There's also there's Tory Richard on King
Exactly.
Street. There's a fair amount of contract sewing going on. They would do designs here. They would go to the Orient.
Alpha Sheehan was great.
Yeah,
Iolani, great. I
Yeah.
stand on the shoulders of some greatness.
yeah, there was greatness there.
I stand on the shoulders of some great
And for
people.
some reason, and maybe you know more about this, they all well, Tory Richard's still around,
Yeah,
but
Tory Richards is
they're
still
all
around.
kind of out of business. These shirts, what do you call you mentioned them earlier.
The Aloha banner?
No, I'll think of it.
Okay.
But there's only a few left, and a lot of
exactly.
the marginal guys are out. And as a lawyer, I was responsible for taking some of them out because they couldn't pay their bills.
Oh, okay.
It was.
Oh.
Yes, sorry. I hope you still like me.
we haven't determined how we're going to be ending this conversation today.
But the sewing was a big deal. There was a lot of commercial activity. There were lots of sales. There were a lot of jobs
Exactly.
in every
Lot of
part of that
jobs.
business. And in fact, there was a lot of what do you call it? There was a lot of
Commerce.
prestige.
Yes, there's a lot of
if
money
you
in
were-
that.
Yeah, money and prestige. It was creative. It was design. It was macha.
Exactly.
And I don't know what happened. It was really too bad.
Well, I think people bought a myth. Because you mentioned Tory Richards, and here's what I found in my research as I'm going to struggle to stand on the shoulders of such magnificent people, that those who outsourced went out of business.
Yep.
They managed to hold on through the lean times and maybe not make as many shirts as they had in the past, but they managed to hold on. And because they held on, they are still in existence. I don't think that we should always sell the entire farm. Sell a couple acres, but try to keep something just in case we trend and pivot back to a time when you're irrelevant.
About making shirts now.
Exactly.
You're talking about manufacturing as an
period.
activity
Exactly.
that humanity
that
needs.
humanity needs.
Yeah.
Here is what my argument has been over the last year. We talk an awful lot about sustainability. We talk an awful lot about bringing manufacturing back to the borders of the United States. We talk about technology and energy, but I have not seen any one of those people that we talk about go to work naked. Apparel is in the equation, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that we've sort of cut ourselves out of because we haven't considered it in the equation of revenue.
But you know what I'm going to ask you.
And
if
that is-
if it takes me, say $10 to make the given garment with the labor costs that I have here, and it takes the Chinese or probably the Laotians by this time $5 or $3 or $2 to make the same garment. How can I compete with them in a world market?
Well, you can compete several ways. First of all, you can consider yourself not having to be competitive with them. You have your own market here. People are looking for you to export your products to them as well. So the import-export, it goes both ways. So it's not a one-sided deal as we've made it become. The other thing is that we actually have a misconception about the cost of producing a garment in your own backyard. There are several things that come into play here. So first, if you remove the fact that you're not competing against, people actually do want that authentic label. And when they get a container full of garments that has one leg short, you can't send it back. And if you do, the time that you've wasted plus the shipping cost, which is brutal, well, you may as well pay me $10 to get it right. And you can drive down the street and you can make sure that I give you that 3/8 inch of a hem versus one short leg, one long leg. You can drop ship your products to somebody locally. So we remove some of the dynamics of the conversation that says that that's a better deal than this is. For the folks out there who have anything to do with shipping anything to this island, we need to think about co-opting ourselves so that we are better able to look after each other and not have to rely so much on imports coming into us.
So your market is Hawaii?
My market is actually worldwide. I sell to Japan, I sell to the mainland, so that's why I said that's a myth that people don't want us to.
You know, everything you tell me, I'm impressed. We got to stop doing this.
Well, listen, we have to keep meeting like this so that the folks get clear that this is not this. And then, there are struggles here because you're a startup, but they're at the end of this bridge that I'm about to cross over is the finish line. And that finish line is prosperity for not just for me, but for my neighbor who needs a job, for that young person that needs an internship, for that family that would like to have more than one job in the household. So we're at a very pivotal point.
Well, okay, I still want to get to the details on how you do that.
Okay.
All right, so put the word out. You get immigrants, maybe people who really need the work to come in. Now you have the whole juggernaut of Hawaii bureaucracy, which rides the tails of every employee.
That's
and makes
that knot
bosses,
in my shoulder.
And makes bosses worry why what they're going to do. How do you cope with that? Because in China, and I'll just pick China.
Exactly.
You know, they
don't have that.
The boss is the king, and everybody really works for the boss. So how do you get by that? How do you deal with all the employment things? You know. Well,
you don't get by them. You have to draw from some of those skills that say, I'm in it. It's a brutal game for a single founder. It's a brutal game for the small business person. It literally appears to be unobtainable. The however is that you talk to people. You continue to talk. You continue to tell the story. You continue to sit down very close to the yous of the world. And you say, listen, how do you help me? How do you help us keep this vision moving forward, where now we're not looking at a single manufacturer like myself, but we're looking at a consortium of manufacturers.
There are others like you now?
They're coming.
They're coming.
They're coming, they're coming. I do know this.
You know the people.
I know that they're coming. Yes, they're coming.
They're going to follow you, or they're going to ride parallel?
Well, right now they want to ride parallel because I'm the face. I'm not just talking about it, I'm walking the talk. Exactly. They want to ride parallel with me. October is Fashion Month here in the state. I am the manufacturing sponsor. So when we go to trade, I will be bringing my sewing machines there. People will understand that if a young person, an aspiring designer, creates a whimsical design, it's just beautiful. Unless you put needle to thread to that, it's art. You only make it a garment when you sew it. So how critical is the sewing component to the garment industry? Without it,
Well, and if you send it offshore, you lose control.
You lose mass control.
And you lose control
quality
of your
control.
brand, of
yes,
your quality,
your brand, your
all
intellectual
that.
property. Everything is diminished and devalued when you send it out, which is why I'm still here struggling through this process.
How do you
I
maintain
refuse.
in your factory? How do you maintain the standards? You have to watch everything. You have to be everywhere, no?
Well, you really don't, because what you do first and foremost is you value your human resource. Every day, the people in my factory, I hug them on the way in and I hug them on the way out. They whisper in my ear, "I love you, madame." I whisper back to them, "I love you as well. You know I will look after you to the best of my ability. When there is a hiccup in the road, we wear it together, whether it's on your side or mine. Are we here to vest ourselves in this and make this solid, or are we just here because we want a paycheck, and when this ceases to exist, I'll go someplace else?" I'm attempting to vest them in the idea of ownership so that they take pride in not only coming to work, but in the craftsmanship of what they will give the customer.
You know, there's a program put on by Hawaii Business Magazine about a month ago called, and they do it all the time, called Hawaii Engagement. I mean, employee engagement. And they talk about, the best places to work in the world are the places that you're talking about, where, the boss and the people are in a kind of partnership, where they're engaged, the employees are engaged, they want to see the boss succeed.
Exactly.
They're not just there to draw a paycheck. And, it's not easy to, it's 24/7 kind of experience to make that happen.
Exactly.
And it does require a hug every day.
It does require several hugs every day and some Hail Marys at night over cocktails when you get home, so you can sort of draw from that energy that you get from them and then give it back to them the next day. I have had missteps, but they still continue to rally to me. I've got probably the best production manager in the state, and she watched me for a year before she came and said, "I will help you now."
She wanted to believe.
Yes.
Then one day she believed, and then she came to you.
Exactly. She came to me, and now she says, "You are my Vegas gamble. I believe that I'm going to take you across the finish line."
Oh, that's fabulous.
It is fabulous. I'm telling you. So you give on the front end.
Yeah.
You don't give to get, but you do get as a result of giving.
Yeah. Well, they always say, real estate is not about land. It's about people. It's about relationships. Manufacturing is not about manufacturing.
No,
it's about relationships.
It's about relationships and people. Exactly.
Yeah. So this turns a whole new corner, doesn't it, for Hawaii that you're doing this?
It does.
And I want to cover that in some detail right after this break. You'll hate me, but we're going to take another break.
All right.
Okay. Apologies for that. And to you too, apologies. This is ThinkTech Talks. I'm Jay Fidell. We're talking to Denyse Ray of Ladyease Limited, DBA, the Ease Collection. We talk about what's in that collection, about manufacturing in Hawaii. We'll be right back after this break.
We want to thank our underwriters.
Hawaiian Electric Company and its affiliates Maui Electric on Maui and Hawaii Electric Light Company on Hawaii Island are deeply committed to the communities they serve.
Galen Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company.
The High Tech Development Corporation, the state's leading technology agency, attached to the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism.
Castle and Cook Hawaii, with a time-honored legacy that spans more than 160 years and revolves around its mission of investing in Hawaii, creating communities, and providing for the needs of our state.
Hawaii Gas, formerly the Gas Company, a proponent of the Liquefied Natural Gas Initiative, helping Hawaii achieve its transition to clean energy and a better energy future.
Collateral Analytics, a Hawaii-based tech company empowering the real estate industry with greater and faster access to the tools and data they need to make better informed property investment decisions.
I'm Nicole Hori. Thanks so much for joining us on ThinkTech.
I'm Maria Kashem. See you next time.
Go to work.
Okay, we're back. We're live. That's Denyse Ray. She's with Ladyease Collections. That is Ease Collections. Ladyease Limited on Pohukaina Street, and she has a factory. How would you like to build a factory? Well, she's not saying no. She's saying you should.
I'm saying you should.
And so we are at a moment,
I'm saying you can.
in American history, in the evolution of the American dream, where we don't have a lot of manufacturing in this country. It has gone away. It is still going away. Big things, little things. But, you know, Denyse has found that you can do it if you put your mind to it, focus.
Yes.
You can make prosperity out of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do it in Hawaii, you know, resurrecting the Hawaii dream, resurrecting the moments of greatness that we had back around statehood, you know,
Exactly.
manufacturing, all these things. We had a very prosperous and effective manufacturing industry here at that time. And like the rest of the country, you know, we lost it, but it's not lost forever.
Well, it's pivoting. It's pivoting nationwide. There's some young people. I love young people. I keep them around me because I don't intend to be moving at this pace very much longer. I always am looking for my replacement, either in my shop or outside of it. You young people, call me. I've got a seat that I'm readying for you.
Ladyease limited on pole kind of street.
Yes, but there's a young group of people out of New Jersey that created this software called Maker's Row. It is to match designers and manufacturers. I have been on Maker's Row about 2 months now, and every day I get a request from someone that wants to make something and bring that product back to the United States. It's just fascinating to me that there are not many more people who are looking at doing this so that they can be a part of that revenue stream. I cannot handle all of this work by myself.
No, but you know what does suggest is, you know, you're a Pied Piper,
Yes.
and you're operating beyond just your own 7,500-foot factory.
Exactly.
You're really, you know, sounding the call
I'm
for
sounding
others
the call,
to
exactly.
do it. So, and you're spending the time, the energy to do that. It's not self-interest. It's much more than self-interest.
Oh, it's bigger than self-interest. I have used all of my resources, cash resources, my retirement. There is no self-interest there. If there were, I would still be on my lanai with those cocktails, and my money would still be in the bank. So I'm showing people that I have made the investment in the community that I believe is necessary. Now it's time for the community to rally to that same investment in people and human resources so that we can do several things. We can change the number of people that rely on our services, which means that our taxes are involved in that, and make them self-sustaining. We keep saying that. Sustainable. Well, sustainability does not just come in from the ground, from plants. It needs to come from human beings.
Yeah,
you need to
it's
be
about
able to
people.
exactly.
It's about relationships.
It's about relationships. So you need to sustain those things in order for us to be grounded in an assignment of moving ourselves forward.
Yeah. Okay. What's step? Now I'm not a manufacturer, but I like what you're saying.
Okay.
I like what you're saying for Hawaii and for the country. I like that. I want to re-get it. So, you know, the Chinese have this phrase in Mandarin, it says "Stand up, China," and it led, you know, Deng Xiaoping. It led to their manufacturing, you know, success.
Okay.
It was a matter of national will, national patriotism. Now, suppose, you know, I'm touched by that,
Okay.
and I want to say, stand up Hawaii or stand up U.S. What do I do?
First, come take a tour in my factory
Okay.
so that you can actually see and feel the energy that's there. The people who actually are in the seamstress department, we have dispelled the myth of sweatshop. They're in air conditioning all day long. I mean, and so again, it's not just the air conditioning, but it's the energy that's in. And then you want to think about replicating that on a smaller scale. And then remember, I started with 3,500 square feet. In less than a year, I expanded, and they're looking at me now for an additional expansion simply because my goal, true goal, is not just to manufacture here in the state.
What is your true goal?
My true goal is to make from seed to product. That means that we will grow the bamboo here, which we already do.
That's sustainability, all right.
Exactly. We will grow the cotton here, which we can. And cotton has grown here for years. I understand that some kids used to have it in their yard, and that's how they filled their futon. So cotton grows here. So I just had a 2-day session with Professor Fuiji from Japan, who came here to teach me how to blend cotton and bamboo to make thread. It was a fascinating session, and his gift to me, as a result of him coming, he is now gifting me all of his research equipment in Japan. I just need to get it from Japan to here. He also required that when he came, his initial was that he wanted me to pay his airfare. When I went to give him that stipend, he gave it back to me, and he said that all he wanted to do was see me succeed at this project. So I want to be able to grow the plant, process it into thread, make the fiber, make the fabric, cut the garment, give school uniforms to Kamehameha or whomever needs school uniforms. They're coming right here out of our factory, and then ultimately send the product out of the state.
Wow. Wow.
Chicken skin, wow, wow.
It is chicken skin.
Yes.
So, but everybody has to buy in. It's not just the employee.
Yes, no.
The engagement of the employees
ag department has to buy in. Kokuban is in.
All right, Russell. Thank you, Russell.
Russell is at the table. UH at the table. We have all had field trips to the bamboo farms on the Big Island. We spun thread the other day with UH's spinning wheel, and so they're at the table. They've been at the table. They see this little, what is she doing really? Okay, but that is the goal, to have that whole industry there, which is jobs on top of jobs.
Lots of jobs.
And lots of jobs and lots of
creative
resources.
jobs.
Creative jobs.
Jobs give you some satisfaction.
Manual labor too, because somebody's got to harvest the plants. You got to maintain the farms. You got to keep some farmers that already exist could plant cotton now as wind buffers, because it makes a good wind buffer. And so to learn how to put those two plants together and produce our own bamboo, produce our own cotton, produce our own thread. I actually loom my own knits in my factory now. So I have to buy the yarn from somewhere else, from a mill in North Carolina, but I loom my own knits. For all of you ladies that know about St. John's, I've got you. I'm the St. John of the Pacific. So if I'm buying, that
it says Hawaii,
thread,
doesn't it? Yes. Hawaii's written all over it.
All over. Hawaii is written all over it, yes. And so, but if we can produce that ourselves, not only are we sustaining ourselves, but we are certainly providing much needed revenue for our state and much needed jobs for our people.
Okay, so talk about the engagement. You engage the employees, and that's critical, because you can't produce anything without engaged employees.
Right.
Ordinary, not engaged employees are not going to help you. You got to have those the ones who hug you back.
They'll hug you back.
Okay, but then you got to be able to hug your landlord, your banker, your lawyer, accountant, and then on and on and on, and suppliers and customers and all that.
And I have been able to remember I was a great first responder, so I've been able to hug them back most of the year with my own hugging. My purse has been what I have been using. Now when I turn it upside down, there is not even lint in it. But
keep the lint out of your purse.
You spent the lint out of your purse. So, but the however is that now I am pivoting to that for solid customers who will help me cover that overhead for the month. So I moved out of my purse, and now I'm moving into the business, starting to cover itself.
So you're covering your expenses now?
Yeah, I'm starting to cover my expenses
now.
now.
The question I put to you is, can you integrate this business on the sales side?
Yes.
In other words, can you go out and do direct selling?
Yes.
Can you open a shop
I
and say,
could.
this is the Ladyease collection, we
I
got
actually
stuff for
have
you?
a salon inside of the factory where I do private showings of my own personal line. I actually have a vending machine that I'm looking to place in the Honolulu airport with the mask in it. So I'm not just there manufacturing. I'm out here in the sales force, and I'm moving the products that I'm producing, because that's what will help me cover the overhead. It cannot be just that I'm producing items in there for other people, it won't. There's not enough margin of profit there. The profit margin is in those face masks that I send all over the world, sun sleeves that I make out of the same bamboo, that vending machine that I need in that airport for a test market, and the goal is to roll 10 of those out in the next quarter and have them in the mainland airports, because it's a travel mask. You shouldn't travel without one. Do you have one, Jay?
No.
You have to
But
have
I'm sure
one.
I wouldn't catch as many respiratory problems.
Exactly.
It's more and more the risk now in traveling.
Exactly.
Oh, that'll sell.
That it's selling.
But it also
is-
says Hawaii.
it's selling.
Because we know stuff in Hawaii.
We know stuff
we got
in
a special
Hawaii.
aloha mask, all this, you know.
We've got bling. We got rhinestones. We've got whatever you need.
You know, it reminds me, I went to China in 2004. We went to one of the tech parks there. And we had a tour, and there was with one proprietor in a little shop where he was making electronic equipment. I mean, it was like, you know, we've heard about how they manufacture everything, so now we're seeing it. We're right there in his shop. And he said, whatever you want me to manufacture, I'll manufacture. You tell me what you want. I make a design in 1 day. I make a prototype in 2 days. And in a week, I'm producing, or whatever he said, something
Okay.
like that. I was really impressed. It didn't matter what you asked him for. He was going to manufacture it. It sounds like you're on the same wavelength as that.
Well, not quite.
Not electronic gear.
No electronic gear, and also I have to remain mindful of my capacity. I'm a neophyte here. I don't want to overextend myself and not deliver the standard that I've set for myself and the customer. So I have to turn people down because I don't know about swimwear. I don't know about a lot of components of the manufacturing business that find me in 10 years from now we're talking. But right now I need to methodically pace myself and only roll out the items that I am comfortable with producing, and for my own line, the items that I know that I can sell.
Right. It's a balance.
It's a balance.
Ability versus ability to
Exactly.
sell. So it sounds like to me, though, the hotels in Hawaii, because you're branding it Hawaii and, you know, the special sauce about
Yes.
Hawaii, and it has, ideally, it has Hawaii-grown, you know, materials, and
Yes.
it's fabulous. That would be, it goes to those guys who threw away their
Exactly.
their bags and T-shirts if it
Exactly,
wasn't made
exactly,
here.
exactly.
You'll give a bag and T-shirt where everything was
Where
made here.
everything was made here. Everything was made
It's a
here.
huge market
It's
for
a
that.
huge
Every
market,
tourist
Jay.
wants to take something home,
Jay,
you know.
it's a huge market. I am so timely, but I need to be cautious.
Well, tell me about the risks that you see.
Well, the risk that I see is what happened the first year, which was all of my neighbors found me. They wanted their products made. They wanted to bring them back from Mexico. Doggy doo-doo bag carry, this thing, that thing. And I literally shoved my products to the side, and I embraced them because the goal was trying to satisfy the need of the community. Well, I now have a good balance. My products still need to be made because they are still my flagship. That's where I make my profit margin. I don't make the margin in their products. And that's why I've increased their minimums, and I've had to take a different look at how I'm rolling my line out. The washable, reusable face mask is all of the rave. We are in the month of September, which most people don't know is National Preparedness Month. I've got a campaign going now where for every mask that somebody buys, I donate one to Kapiolani Hospital, or to the Children's Miracle Network, or to the Ronald McDonald House. I've got a little girl that has worn the mask for years with an autoimmune disease, and her parents clearly believe that with the help of the mask and Kapiolani Hospital, we have collectively saved her life. So I'm not backing down from the mask. It's a necessary component. The fact that it's washable, reusable, means that every vending machine in every airport around the nation could have one of those. My friends are all out in the mainland looking after me, and here's what they called me with last week. not only should you think about airports, but what about hospital lobbies for the vending machine? Hoorah, I say to them, I'm coming. Okay, so there is a nice, wonderful group of people who are rallying.
What's the next, we only have a minute left. What's the next thing on your plate? Where are you going in the next year or two?
In the next 2 years, because I know that I will be outpriced or either mowed down in Kaka'ako. They have so many designs for new
that's something
things.
to be worried
Well,
about,
I'm
yeah.
not worried about it because I'm a forward thinker. I am actually looking for that land so that I can harvest those plants, so that I can put that plant out there that processes it into thread. And so I won't be in Kaka'ako. I'll miss you all, but I won't be there. Because the feasibility will not allow an industrial plant like I have to remain there with all of the improvements that they're making.
You couldn't make it on a roof, huh?
No.
It needs actual soil. It needs cultivating fields.
Well,
and all that.
yeah. And you need lots and lots of rows to come up with a garment.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
would be amazed at how little we extract from the plant once we process it down for thread. Now, you could get stalks for furnishings, but that's not something that I'm interested in.
No,
So
one thing at a time.
One thing at a time. I only want the thread.
Yeah. Denyse, I am so delighted to meet you and talk to you. I hope we can do this again. I'll be watching you, you know.
Thank you.
I'll be watching your success. In a few months, you should come back and tell me how you're doing.
I will.
And I wish you all, I'm sure everybody tells you this, but let me tell you, I wish you all the best. I wish you well and great success and prosperity.
Thank you. It's
This
not
is-
just for me. It's for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Denyse.
Thank you.
I give you a hug.
Yes.
That's Denyse Ray. She's with Ladyease Limited, DBA The Ease Collection on Pocahontas Street and maybe many other places. And this is ThinkTech Talks. I'm Jay Fidell. We'll be right back with ThinkTech Friday in a few moments. Aloha.